about my age on the first time I told them I was 17 because I was scared. I don't know. I lied. And I remember I wrote the first statement, I wrote it and I tried to cover up stuff. But then I told them I had to use the restroom. And they was like, nah, you can't use the restroom. But before all this happened, they brought Mr. Williams in there. Because they was like, this is good. You're going to want to hear this. And he was like, who did this to you? And I was like, P. Diddy. And I named other people that I was around. And he was all like, he burned down this building to cover up all the evidence and some bodies, some more people that was there. I went to the highway. I made it through the barbed wire fence because I'm like, damn, I thought I was in the jungle because they kept telling me, you're in the jungle. So I didn't know where the I was at.
Y'all, this story is absolutely shocking. A victim of Diddy's dark empire has finally revealed her identity, and she's naming names. Not just any names, big names. We're talking about Hollywood's elite, who allegedly threatened her into silence for decades. But she's done staying quiet now, and her story is exposing a world so sinister, it's almost hard to believe. The details are graphic, heartbreaking, and downright chilling. Buckle up, y'all, because this is going to give you a ride you won't forget. Misha says her nightmare started at just 10 or 11 years old. She met Diddy through a close family connection, and what she thought was an opportunity to chase her dreams quickly turned into something else entirely.
In the 2000, I was basically 10, 11 is when I lost my virginity.
Misha says she was lured with promises of fame, fortune, and becoming the next big thing in music. But when she refused to participate, the manipulation began. It started with candy that left her feeling out of it. Before she even realized what was happening, she was on a private jet to Diddy's infamous flavor camp.
The things that I wrote, I got in trouble for it. And I remember getting beat or whatever for the book, and I used to write in composition books. I gave it to her, and she told me her dad was a producer, and I was like, well, ask them, am I gonna get some Grammys for this?
At first, the setup looked glamorous: luxury jets, expensive studios, and promises of working with the biggest stars in the industry. But behind closed doors, she describes it as a living nightmare filled with fear, control, and unimaginable acts. Now, her arrival at Diddy's infamous flavor camp was the turning point, but behind the scenes, she describes a world of control where young individuals were spiked and forced into horrifying situations. She recalls being coerced into acts that she didn't understand at the time, surrounded by people who either participated or turned a blind eye. And at the studio, she was made to pose for pictures and photos and videos, often feeling as though these were being used to ensure her silence. The environment was intimidating, but no chance of escape. She described being unable to move or resist, as every corner seemed to be monitored by Diddy's associates.
I didn't know. And then he ended up bringing Clyde Davis by, and Clyde Davis like, give her whatever she wants. So he was like, how much money you want? You can say whatever amount of money. And I remember saying $500.
But that's not all. She vividly remembers waking up disoriented in a bathroom stall, surrounded by men who she says forced themselves on her. One of them was reportedly smoking from a suspicious pipe while laughing at her pain. But things got even more disturbing because Misha claims that she wasn't the only one targeted at these gatherings. There were other victims, many of them young. She recalls seeing Jennifer Lopez and other well-known stars present during these horrifying events. She alleges that Lopez didn't intervene, but instead participated in degrading acts against her.
It was like until I noticed it, I was just in the cage. But before they took me out the cage and put me back in the cage, they had these babies with them.
And it's no surprise that J-Lo didn't try to help Misha during their darkest moments. Let's not forget, J-Lo was dating Diddy back in the day, and she had to know about what went on behind the scenes. Their relationship wasn't just public, it was the epitome of Hollywood glamour at the time. And J-Lo was right there in the middle of Diddy's whirlwind of controversy. But this is where it gets even messier, because Suge Knight, the former music mogul, claimed in a recent interview that the reason J-Lo's marriage to Ben Affleck is falling apart is because the feds allegedly showed Ben a tape of J-Lo and Diddy at one of those so-called freak-off parties. Imagine the bombshell that would have dropped in their home. Ben reportedly couldn't look at her the same after that.
Suge Knight, he said, baby, he think the reason why Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck broke up because he feels that that they had some tapes at Diddy's mansion that showing her in a compromising position, and that the FBI allegedly may have sent those tapes to Ben Affleck. You know, Ben Affleck is a white man in America, and he's a very prominent man. They say he's a darling.
To make matters worse, this isn't the first time that J-Lo has been tied to freak-off allegations. Her ex-husband, Ojani Noah, wasn't quiet about it either. He once accused J-Lo of being deeply involved in those parties, and even suggested that she should be questioned about the infamous S-tapes. And yes, y'all, including the baby oil. If that's not enough to raise eyebrows, I don't know what is. Now then there's this 1999 nightclub shooting that shook the entertainment industry because J-Lo was right there in the thick of it when it happened. She was Diddy's girlfriend at the time, and instead of distancing herself from the chaos, she defended him. Belizean rapper Shine ended up taking the fall for the incident and spent 8 years in prison, but the real story behind the shooting still remains murky.
Let us not lose sight of what the cold hard facts are. This was not someone who I vacationed with and who he and I enjoyed this great intimate relationship of brotherhood. This is someone who destroyed my life.
But this is the chilling part. A witness who was also a victim in the shooting came forward and claimed that it was J-Lo who handed Diddy the weapon that night. This witness accused Diddy of firing the gun and J-Lo of being complicit in the act, and yet J-Lo stayed silent, continuing to stick beside Diddy even as Shine's life and career were destroyed. Let that sink in. Now Shine paid the price, while Diddy and J-Lo walked away unscathed for years.
Mr. Combs shared that he was responsible for the in the nightclub in New York City with rapper Shine. He shared that artist and Mr. Combs' girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, aka J-Lo, carried the into the club for him and passed him the after he got into an altercation with another individual.
When you put all these pieces together, it's not hard to see why Misha's claims don't come as a surprise. J-Lo has a history of turning a blind eye to Diddy's behavior, but J-Lo wasn't the only celebrity Misha named in her harrowing account. She also claimed that Bill Cosby was present at one of those horrifying gatherings. According to Misha, Cosby not only stood by as Diddy S.A.'d her, but also took part in these despicable acts. What's even more chilling is how she described her experience with Cosby, highlighting the shocking and cruelty of his actions. The details are enough to leave anybody speechless.
Then when I got in the car, I remember him like, eat the candy, eat the jelly beans. I think I had on pink that day. Pink, like some pink sweats and like a shirt. And I had bobos in my head. And he was like, eat the candy, eat the candy. And some said don't eat the candy, but then he was like being real persistent. Eat it, eat it, eat it, eat the candy, try it. These are new jelly beans. We just invented these with jelly beans. And when I ate the jelly bean, I was like, this is nasty. And I was spitting it out. And as I spit it out, I was like, I want to get out the car. And he slammed the door. And then he got in the car. And I remember being out of there. And I remember them putting me on the jet.
Cosby's involvement in such allegations doesn't come as much of a surprise to many, considering his long history of accusations. But let's not forget, Cosby has faced decades of claims of SA from women who alleged he spiked in them. Over 60 women have spoken out against him, making Misha's allegations all the more plausible. However, what makes this revelation particularly disturbing is that Misha's claims didn't surface during the time and the height of the Me Too movement, when Cosby's name was already a lightning rod for controversy. Now, Cosby's history is riddled with accusations eerily similar to Misha's claims. For instance, just recently, an 80-year-old former actress, Victoria Valentino, filed a lawsuit against him under a new California law that temporarily suspends the statute of limitations for SA claims. According to Valentino, Cosby drugged and assaulted her and another woman back in 1969. The details are hauntingly familiar there as well. Cosby allegedly gave them pills, incapacitated them, and then carried out his assault. And this isn't an isolated case, because in 2021, Cosby was released from prison after a higher court overturned his conviction, despite accusations from over 60 women that he had committed SA or harassment. He was the first celebrity convicted during this Me Too era, and his release was a massive blow to survivors everywhere.
Bill Cosby walked free today after the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania overturned his assault conviction, leaving his accusers stunned. Cameras captured Cosby returning to his home outside Philadelphia just hours after the ruling came out. The judges pointing to a vast violation of Cosby's due process rights in the decision. So what happened? Well, more than a decade ago, a prosecutor decided not to charge the actor. Cosby then agreed to testify in a civil case, and during that, admitted to giving quaaludes to a woman he was pursuing.
But now that Cosby is out and Diddy is behind bars, Misha's allegations open up new questions. Could this fresh revelation lead to Cosby being rearrested? The precedent for reopening cases under look-back laws suggests that justice might not be very entirely out of reach. But Misha's harrowing act does not stop with Diddy. She also alleged that Harvey Pierre, a former president of Bad Boy Entertainment and one of Diddy's closest associates, played a huge chilling role in her nightmare.
I met him 6th grade that summer or whatever, and I remember SZA, her name is Solange Rowe. I don't know, she changed her name, Solange Rowe. She went to Weld Middle School in Garland, Texas. She came to that school after the 9/11 happened, and I remember her getting bullied a lot because she used to wear the black turbans on her head. And so I became her friend, and I remember a white boy in the class was like, your people did it. I remember standing up for her saying, my people didn't do nothing. We didn't blow up no buildings. And they was like, not you, the people with the things on their head. And I remember she got bullied real bad in school or whatever. And it was to the point where her parents ended up taking her out to school. And I remember her saying that like they were gonna take her name out the yearbook. And I remember her saying, like, so if people don't have the original yearbook, like if somebody go back and go look the yearbook up now for Weld Middle School, she's not going to be in it.
According to her, Pierre was present during the event, standing beside as Diddy forced himself on her. But it didn't end there because Pierre himself allegedly assaulted her using an S-toy to further violate her and forcing himself on her despite her cries for help. Misha described being in an unimaginable pain while Pierre, ignoring her desperate pleas, continued his actions without remorse.
And he was telling me, asking me if I smoke, if I drink, and I told him no, and he was telling me basically I can't turn down anything that he offers me. I have to, if he offered it to me, I have to do it. I remember him giving me a tour of the place and him giving me the camera. I remember him like trying to make me feel comfortable, and he was like complimenting and saying, oh, she got a nice ass. I felt so uncomfortable. He was like, don't she got a nice body? Her ass is nice. I remember that. I remember him telling me to get the camera and to take pictures.
What did he have you taking pictures of, or
like
of yourself?
He took pictures of me, and like when I took a picture and I'm like in front of the thing, I'm taking pictures like this, and I took a picture of the bed. That was me. I just took a picture of the bed. He was like, go walk around. I put my phone on do not disturb. He was like, go walk around, and he told me to take pictures.
But to make matters worse, this isn't the first time that Pierre has been implicated in such allegations. As a key figure in Diddy's Bad Boy Entertainment empire, Harvey Pierre has had his own legal battles and accusations of misconduct. In 2023, an ex-assistant filed a lawsuit against Pierre, accusing him of grooming and sexually assaulting her over a year-long period between 2016 and 2017. The lawsuit paints a disturbing picture of Pierre using a position of power to prey on anonymous women, subjecting her to repeated harassment and assault in various locations across the country.
And then I remember it being like, I'm thirsty. I remember him giving me something to drink, and I remember it tasted nasty, and him laughing and him doing his little dance talking about welcome to the flavor camp in my face or whatever.
The assistant alleges that Pierre's actions caused her significant physical, emotional, and psychological harm. She is now seeking damages to compensate for the suffering she endured. But that's not all. The lawsuit also names Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, and Combs Enterprises as co-defendants, claiming that companies were negligent in failing to supervise Pierre and prevent his access to individuals like the plaintiff. But despite these allegations, the companies have largely distanced themselves from the issue. A spokesperson for Bad Boy Entertainment stated that neither the plaintiff nor Pierre is currently employed by the company and that the allegations are now being investigated. However, critics argue that this is yet another example of toxic culture, allegedly fostered by those at the top of the Bad Boy empire. But perhaps the most jaw-dropping name Misha brought forward was Kris Jenner. Yes, the Kardashian momager herself was allegedly present during these horrifying incidents. According to Misha, Kris witnessed everything that went down and allowed it to happen. Misha even claims that she tried to fight back at one point and stabbed Jenner in the shoulder, but it didn't make a difference.
I remember them being in there and we was saying our names and I was like Lamisha and one said her name and then she was talking in her language and I ain't hear nothing but she was like fight. So every time we got out the cage it was like we all like when it was time to get everybody having sex, that's when I started fighting back. I remember
I know it's hard. I know it's hard.
Nothing changed. But with Kris Jenner's name being tied to Diddy's alleged crimes might seem shocking, but it's not entirely out the blue. The Kardashian matriarch has long been linked to Diddy in ways that now feel more sinister in hindsight. Let's start with her relationship with Corey Gamble. Corey, who was Kris's longtime boyfriend, has been rumored to act as Diddy's fixer. Yes, a fixer. Well, Corey Gamble was allegedly present at the scene of Kim Porter's death, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, who passed away under suspicious circumstances. Officially, her death was ruled as pneumonia, but many believe that there was more to the story. Rumors have circulated for years that Kim Porter was silenced because she knew too much about Diddy's dark secrets, and Gamble's presence at the crime scene at her passing only adds to the speculation.
Love being in Paris with Corey because Corey and I started dating in Paris. So he always plans a really special night for us while we're here. We have the moon, the full moon.
Yeah.
And we have the glittering Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
And we have us.
Let me ask you about Corey Gamble. He was at Kim Porter's death scene.
Yeah, I know. And he was also that took Tory Lanez to Kylie's house to fake shoot Megan Thee Stallion.
But another layer to this mystery cake is Kris Jenner's infamous church. Yes, she owns a church, but it's been accused of being more than just a place of worship. Allegedly, the church has also been used as a tool to funnel money and pay off victims who suffered at the hands of Diddy during his notorious free. The idea that such a high-profile figure could be involved in covering up these kinds of crimes makes Misha's claims even more believable. And let's not forget how publicly close Diddy and Kris Jenner have been over the years. They've been spotted at events together, calling each other friends and exchanging praises like there's nothing to hide. But now with Diddy facing mountains of accusations, Kris Jenner has been noticeably silent. Suspicious, isn't it? But if you thought that was crazy, get a load of this. One of Kris's daughters, Khloe Kardashian, once admitted in a video that she attended a party at Diddy's where everyone was butt naked. Yeah, you heard me, naked. Her account eerily matches the descriptions of these infamous freak-offs. But while Khloe likely didn't realize the weight of her statement, it now adds a whole lot of fuel to this fire. So when you consider all of this, Kris's ties to Corey Gamble, her suspiciously quiet stance amid the allegations, and even her daughter's first-hand account, it's not so far-fetched to think that an influential yet controversial figure like Kris Jenner could have been present and turning a blind eye. Her influence and connections in Hollywood might explain why so many of these dark stories stayed hidden for so long. One of the most haunting claims from Misha's story is the sight of brown children locked in cages. She described how these children who couldn't speak English were confined and subjected to unimaginable horrors. This disturbing detail aligns with the trafficking allegations currently surrounding Diddy. The eerie similarity raises even more questions about how deep these allegations go and who else might be involved. Another name Misha mentioned was Roger Bonds, a figure tied closely to Diddy. According to her, Bonds was the one sent to get the S-toy, used during one of these horrifying incidents. But here's where things get worse. Roger Bonds has recently stepped forward, claiming he's ready to testify against Diddy. He's vowed not to go to jail or stay silent for Diddy's sake, even if it means exposing the truth about what happened to Cassie and other victims. Now for Misha, this could be a major turning point. Having someone from Diddy's inner circle willing to speak out might just validate her story and the claims of others who have suffered similar fates. But I have to know what you think about this. Could Roger Bonds' decision to testify finally bring justice to Diddy's victims, or will the system shield the powerful once again? What do you think about Misha's claims of brown kids in cages? Could this shed light on an even darker layer of trafficking allegations against Diddy? And what about the celebrities she named? Will they ever face accountability for their alleged roles in these horrifying events? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and stick around for our next video.